Adele and I have actually been stockpiling cameras and hard drives. Every time we go out, we're like, should we grab an extra camera and hard drive? Hello, best friend Brenbrens, and welcome back to Season 3 of Rewatching Home Movies, a weekly watch-along podcast where three friends break down the 1999 animated series Home Movies. My name's Tim, and I'm obsessed with home movies.
My name's Adele, and I'm a home movies newbie.
And my name is Marcin, and I've never seen home movies.
Home Movies Season 3, Episode 2, titled, Breaking Up is Hard to Do.
Okay, that would have definitely given it away for me.
Yeah.
Original air date August 18th, 2002 on Adult Swim. Written by Brendan Small and Bill Broaddus and cast. Directed by Lauren Bouchard and produced by Carl Adams. Episode synopsis for this episode. Paula burns down the kitchen, but Coach McGurk comes to the rescue. Meanwhile, Paula's parents are getting a divorce.
Wow. Yeah, as soon as I saw the title of the show, I turned to Tim and I was like, oh, is Paula's parents getting a divorce? He's like, yeah.
I had to do the Kevin James meme, hands in pocket, like, what?
I probably would have done, I probably would have assumed it was somebody else because I completely forgot that Paula's parents were even part of the show, technically.
Right.
Yeah. And I had brought it up in a previous episode where we see Paula's dad, and I may have some little insight for that. But before we get into all that, we have to get into the creative corner. The creative corner, of course, is when we spotlight something creative that we're consuming, producing, anything we want to bring to the spotlight. Guys, I realized after I booked this one, it might be a little bit of an older reference.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to get it. But please, introducing the Creative Corner, the lead singer of the B-52s, Fred Schneider. Creative Corner, doodly-doo.
I got to be honest with
Thanks,
you, Fred. I have no idea who you are.
Oh, poor Fred Schneider.
Oh,
You've never heard Rock
aboard.
Lobster or
No.
Love Shack?
Love
Rock
Shack,
Lobster,
baby.
sung by Peter Griffin. Because that's the only time I've ever heard that song. I'm so sorry.
You need to culture yourself, young man.
Wow.
I know.
Is the Love Shack, that's not the one I'm thinking of, the Love Shack.
Yeah.
The Love Shack. Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, that's Fred
Okay.
Schneider.
All right. Okay, thanks for being here, Fred.
Yeah, he is deeply offended that you guys don't know who he is, but that's fine. Well, who would like to go first in this incredibly awkward starting Creative Corner?
Nah, I like the vibe. I would like to go first. So, in these unprecedented times, we all struggle between wanting to not think about things and also the responsibility of thinking about things. So, my Creative Corner is a YouTube channel called Under the Desk News, and it's run, the whole premise of the YouTube channel is about getting your news, but in a very calm way and just very reputable, and just it's calming, but you're also understanding the gravity of the situation. It's in your face, but not in a way that's going to panic you and give you a heart attack. And right now we kind of need that.
Yeah.
So I very much recommend Under the Desk News. They got so many different videos, and they put one out almost weekly, almost daily sometimes, depending on certain events. It's very insightful, and it's honestly a really, really nice watch sometimes.
Yeah, I definitely have to look that up. I remember during the pandemic when John Krasinski was doing that Some Good News or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that was good, but I doubt the news is, like, positive. It's, like, informing us of what's going on in just a way that we can swallow without wanting to run into a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking that up. Thank you for the recommendation.
Yeah, there was another YouTube news channel that we watched during the pandemic called Some More News.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, yeah, especially during the pandemic, every other episode was, like, so heavy that it got to a point where I was like, Adele, do you want to stop watching these? And she was like, kind of.
Yeah, we all get to that point that we just want. Sometimes we want to stick our head in the sand, but like we also recognize that we can't do that.
Yeah.
So the best way to do it is to stay informed, but in a way that's not going to make you want to jump off a cliff.
Right. It's acknowledging the bullshit while also trying to maintain a level of mental health that is healthy.
It's such a delicate balance.
Yeah.
It really is. And just for anybody who's outside of the USA listening right now, I just want you to know we are not a part of this.
Yeah.
We're not super chill with everything happening right now.
Yeah.
We don't want anyone to think we are.
Exactly. Right. Not good vibes out here. So that was my creative corner.
I can go next. My creative corner. It's actually something I made. Usually I highlight other people's creative endeavors, but I've been trying to do things that keep my mind off of the world around me. So a few years ago, Tim and I went to a park, and the park had like what would you call it? Like a nature center? Nature center. There you go.
Yeah.
And so I got a walking cane, and ever since I got it, I was like, I want to add crystals to it and like make it all, I'm pagan, so I like to make it a little bit more meaningful. But this is the cane. I know people who are listening who can't see it, but I'm showing it so Marcin can see it.
I would describe it as a very like Gandalf-esque walking stick.
I just hit myself in the head with it. Yeah, it does.
With the curve.
Yeah, I hit my head with the curve. All right. So the top part, I put a rose quartz, and then I put lapis lazuli right there. And then there's a little bit of what is this?
Obsidian?
Obsidian, yes, thank you. So the idea is because the curve points outwards when you're walking, so it's the idea of leading with love, and then the obsidian is like right under my hand, which is a symbol of protection, and then the lapis lazuli is pointing towards me and that's a intuition stone to help with my intuition on my path with life and all of its horrors.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing. I've seen it many times when I've been in your apartment, and I think it's a beautiful cane. But I didn't know that the rose quartz in the end was like leading with love. I think that's very beautiful.
I also put, which Marcin you'll probably recognize, this is from the Gothra necklace.
Oh, it was.
Yeah,
oh my god.
So that's on there too.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. I was gonna also say you should bring that at some point and show Eddie, because Eddie also makes walking sticks.
He does? That's awesome.
Oh yeah, our family used to like have a bunch of woodworking tools and make a lot of walking sticks and cool shit. Woodworking is just so fun, and especially when you're from Kentucky and you're on a porch, woodland is the thing to do.
Yeah. I've always been interested in woodworking just because I'm interested in like tiny home living and like living off the land and all that shit. Yeah. And the things that people create with wood is gorgeous. My grandfather was actually a carpenter, and he did a lot of like intricate carvings and stuff. So it's in my blood, but this is my introduction to it.
It's been so cool because like randomly Adele will be like, can we go to the hardware store for sandpaper and wood glue? And I'm like, oh, things are happening.
I got the itch. Yeah.
Do you guys follow that one woodworking dude on TikTok? I think it's Ivy Workshop on TikTok. He has just a bunch of he has a bunch of like videos of him making stuff, and it takes like 5 minutes or whatever, and it's just a bunch of clips edited together of him making something wonderful, but at the same time he's talking over it about like his thoughts on the world and everything that's happening.
Damn, you'll have to send me videos of his because I don't think I am.
Yeah, that's a second creative corner for me. Then Ivy Workshop, wonderful woodworker, and also just a beautiful mind.
Hell yeah, love that.
Very, very good creative corners. It is my turn, and unfortunately my creative corner is kind of a sad one. I'm sorry. I'm going to do a little bit of a lore dump here about your boy Tim here, a.k.a. Timmy Blaze. I am a comedian. I've been part of the Chicago suburbs comedy scene for over 10 years now, And of those 10 years, for about 8 of them, my sister and I, who's also a comedian, have hosted a comedy open mic. And hosting a comedy open mic is a very interesting thing. A lot of times I compare it to like working at a high school. You kind of see new classes come in and you see some people drop out or graduate or move on or whatever. And the thing with an open mic is you get people who are literally like, hey, this is my first time up. And, we've had people drop into our open mic who have legitimately been on television, have done late night talk shows and stuff like that. In all the years I've been doing the open mic, I have never seen anyone rise as fast as Ken Flores. Ken started as a comedian in this area and blew up so fucking quickly. He moved to LA. He was recording specials. He was legitimately like he was not done. His star was not done rising. And as of record of this, and by the time this episode drops, I am very sad to inform you that Ken Flores has passed away. He was only 28 years old. He had done multiple shows for us. He had come to the open mic. And one of the things, there's a lot of things I'll always remember about Ken, but I mean, like, his personality was bigger than life. But I basically, like, what I described to people, if you ever booked Ken Flores for anything, 2 things were going to happen. Like, one, his homies were showing up in number, man. That dude had friends supporting him more than any other comedian I've ever seen in my life. Ken's been booked on things and they're like, we had to add 3 more shows because like literally it oversells that much. And then 2, the other thing is like, he's just going to completely blow the roof off the place with his comedy. He was so fucking funny. He was at a show that actually the 3 of us were at. It was a show that I hosted it was kind of a shit show. We did not organize it properly and the crowd just was not there for the comedy, really. And Ken went up and I wish I could be like, oh, he fucking got him and they fucking paid attention but he struggled like every other comedian. And I remember being genuinely mad at that crowd. Being like, you have no fucking clue what you just like turned your noses up at. You're going to see this dude on Netflix and feel really fucking stupid that you didn't give him the attention he deserved. But since that time, like I said, he moved to LA and he was like really blowing up. He was doing so much. And like I said, it was just the beginning. And my heart literally breaks in half when I heard about his passing. The one thing I can say is he's got so much content online. You can find so many of his sets of his jokes. I believe he did record one special. I'm not sure if it's out yet, but his family restocked his entire merch store and 100% of the proceeds are going towards his family. So he's got a lot of really cool merch. KenFlores.net. You can go and you can get any of his merch with, like I said, 100% of the proceeds going to his family. I can't imagine how they're doing right now. TMZ reported not only on his passing, but gave away a lot of like medical information about Ken that was like super fucking unnecessary. Mm-hmm. And it started a lot of like 99.9% of the comments were so like positive and loving, but because they were a little too anxious to share some of his medical history, some people were being very fucking mean in the comments. That's so fucked and it's not right. But because he was blowing up the way he was, like his family has not really had the time they deserve to process this and deal with it. They need privacy and they need time to deal with their shit. So I highly encourage anyone to, 1, go check out Ken's content online, and 2, if you enjoy it and you want to give his family some help, KenFlores.net has all of his merch. It's completely restocked, and 100% of the proceeds are going towards the family. So, yeah, it's a very unfortunate and sad creative corner, but I just need people to know that Ken blew up so much and so fast, and like I said, he his star was just beginning to rise. So please, like, consume as much of his content as you can. There's so much out there. He did a ton of podcasts too. My sister's podcast, The Happy Corner, he was on an episode of that where he was like very candid and open about his life. So very heartbroken about the news, and would just really encourage anyone to go out there and and find and consume his content.
It's sad when we lose people in our lives, but celebrating who they were as people is really what keeps their memory alive and keeps them alive. Because at the end of the day, we're all going to disappear from each other's lives at a certain point, and we all are just going to be memories, but it's what each other meant to each other that is really important.
Yeah, the mark that's left behind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also, looking at his merch, he's got a hoodie, he's got a little homie tee, he's got a photo tee, and he's got this butterfly tee I really like.
Yeah, he was getting ready for his next tour and special called the Butterfly Effect.
Yeah.
So, yeah, his first tour called Sorry About the Wait, WEIGHT, which was also a play on words, like kind of shout out to his fans who had been there since day one. And like, you know, everybody knew it was going to happen. Everybody knew that he was going to absolutely blow up. He dominated every room he ever performed in. So, and that's my creative corner. And I'm sorry. It's, I know this is a goofy little podcast about a fun little animation, but also the creative corner, I wanted to be part of this podcast so that we could talk about stuff that was meaningful to us as humans. And sometimes the things we have to talk about are really heavy. So,
yeah. I don't think we should shy away from that. And I don't think you should shy away from your love for somebody else just because it's sad. Yeah. There is a quote that has been persistent in my brain, but what is grief but love persisting?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
That's very beautiful. Yeah. Oh, well, on that beautiful note, do you guys want to talk about this here episode of Home Movies?
Yeah.
I absolutely do.
Season 3, Episode 2. Yeah, the title gives a lot of it away. Breaking up is hard to do.
So with titles of these episodes, right, they seem to fluctuate between giving us away everything and then just not making sense at all.
Sure.
So I don't really know how to feel about like these episode titles. You know, it's not like the Friends title thing where it's like the one where blank, blank, blank. But it does just give away. I'm glad I don't look at the titles beforehand. I'm glad I just like go straight in blind.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. Well, this episode, we open up. We're not quite in a movie, but we're in Brendan's basement. We get a shot of what appears to be a closet.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of paused it here, and it's up on the screen. And this is like the mecca of background catches. This is almost every costume they've used. There's Starboy, Captain of Outer Space. I didn't even realize this behind the hot dog costume, which, yeah, the hot dog costume from history. A lot of these are from history, which I love. But behind the hot dog costume is Mr. Pants.
Yeah, it is.
You see the Holy Roller big wheel that Jason drives. For some reason, I believe that's the outfit Coach McGurk wore when he worked at the coffee shop.
Yeah, maybe he gave it to him.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was pointing that out. I mean, he wouldn't just like get naked and give it to him. But
I would hope not.
But then again, he was on like the bus in his regular Coach McGurk outfit, so who knows?
Yeah, so maybe Brendan got it. I see Shakespeare, again from history. I see the dragon costume that Jason wore in the season 2 finale.
Yeah.
Are those the fairy princess wings?
I think up in the box is some fairy princess wings.
Yeah. So with the hot dog costume, that means that they didn't actually go to a hot dog factory, that they did all that on their own?
Then who played the hot dog man, Brendan?
Was it maybe Melissa? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So I just think it's awesome. This scene opens up with like such a great background catch. Dozens of them. We zoom past all this and we see Brendan, Jason, and Melissa sitting at a table. Jason's holding a script for a movie called Innocent But Proven Guilty. Brendan is giving out the roles to Jason and Melissa. They're both detectives. Melissa asks what the movie is about, and Brendan says it's about 40 pages.
Very funny joke.
I like that.
You can cut this part out, but is that a Furby up there behind the gun? You can see like an eye sticking out.
I see. Behind the gun, which gun?
On the right,
side,
top shelf.
There's like a little eye poking out. Looks like a little Furby.
It does look like a Furby.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's got the hair and it's got the eyes.
And the ears.
This would be 2002. I mean, Furby's popularity was kind of really popping off, right?
Yeah.
So I could see him
Furby's
hiding a
weird.
Furby in there. Yeah, no, I am not going to take that out. Good catch, Adele.
Thanks.
We got a little Furby in the prop closet.
Sorry,
Furbies
I
are
didn't mean
scary.
to. I didn't mean to backtrack.
No, that's okay.
No.
So right off the bat, Brendan tells Jason that he's Detective Mulligan, and Jason pushes back and says he wants to play Detective Winooski. Brendan explains the movie's about a guy getting arrested for something he didn't do. Jason asks if it's a comedy, and Brendan very dryly says, yes, it's hilarious.
Not to backtrack as well, but like as we zoomed in the way that we were looking at the pages and zoomed, and when Jason turned the script, and that's how we see the title. I'm a sucker for good title card reveals, and that was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Into the script. Also, Jason has reading glasses.
Yeah, I guess so. As a 7-year-old.
Yeah. Only for serious roles, though. I don't know. So Brendan begins to go over stage direction. He is kind of pushing back, saying nobody's changing roles. Last minute, Brendan does let them switch characters, and they start filming the scenes as Detective Mulligan and Winooski, who are undercover detectives. They're sitting in a car that says, "We are not cops" on the side. Brendan starts the scene, and both the detectives are just continuously slurping coffee. So Brendan is even encouraging them, like, oh, they finished their coffee. They put that coffee down. that coffee's going to downtown.
Put the coffee down!
Yeah. I think at one point Jason's even like, my head is spinning. Because they're not only drinking the coffee, but then saying slurp.
I was wondering where this episode was going to go, especially because we always started off in a home movie. It seems like I feel like this is probably the 8th time in a row that we've been in a home movie to start off. But I thought this episode was going to go down, Brendan's anger management when he started yelling at them. Put it down.
Well, we've seen before in the past when Brendan feels like nobody is paying attention to him, especially when he's trying to direct. That is like a triggering thing for Brendan. Director's Cut was another one where everybody was kind of talking about how much fun this project is and how great it is, and Brendan just kept talking and nobody was paying attention, and then he finally lost it. So I think this is just one of Brendan's things that trigger him to start yelling.
Pet peeves.
At one point in the scene, Jason's character says he's upset because his husband is going to leave him. Immediately, Jason and Melissa question Brendan's casting.
This 2003, you can tell.
Yeah.
Why can't Jason have a husband?
Right.
He doesn't want one.
Right. Well, they proceed to switch back to their original characters, continue the scene. At one point, when Melissa's character is talking about getting a divorce, Jason's character says he feels like this is the best time to confess his feelings. Melissa's character rejects Jason's feelings, saying that they have a job to do, proceeds to exit the car. Upon doing so, Brendan has Melissa continuously slam the door on Jason's head. And I like this part because we see that play out with Jason's head continuously getting slammed in the door, but we see it in the reflection of Brendan's camera. So I just thought that was a cool shot.
Yeah.
I thought it was a cool shot. I like Jason getting hit many times by Melissa. I feel like it's owed to her.
At one point, Brendan is like, you forgot your wallet? Like, just finding excuses to slam the door more. Brendan ends the scene and says that's it for that scene, and they're ready for scene 2, interior. Japanese bathhouse. Night. Whatever this movie is, it sounds like Brendan's got some pretty big vision for it. So
Japanese bathhouse.
Yeah.
Yep.
What movie is he inspired from this time?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
Well, the next scene, we see Paula cooking dinner, saying that her mom is on her way over. Brendan asks, is it because Grandpa died? And Paula says that Doris didn't say. So Paula shifts her attention to desserts, but accidentally leaves an oven mitt on the oven, and it starts on fire. Brendan points out the fire. Paula immediately says, holy, and then the beeping of the smoke alarm covers up her cursing.
No fire extinguisher.
No.
I was going to say, this made me upset. One, as someone who, we have a tiny fire extinguisher in a place that would not be easily obtained. Honestly, I should probably pull that up. But at the same time, she just stared at it for a bit.
Yeah.
I feel like she could have done something really quickly.
Right. We keep ours underneath the kitchen sink just so it's there and ready to go. But she takes the fucking fire detector and puts it in the freezer.
Yeah. So that's the thing. She tells Brendan not to panic. And I mean, For what it's worth, he's not. He's like poking the fire. But yeah, Paula is freaking out. She does the smoke detector thing. Brendan is pretty calm, saying it's just a small fire. Paula tells Brendan to grab his sister and get out of the house. But Brendan asks if he can grab his movie camera first.
And she was like, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, she says no, encourages him to grab his sister and to get out of the house. Oh, and then tells him also grab my wallet and checkbook. They're in the third drawer. Brendan replies, I know where they are. Paula immediately pauses to ask Brendan how he knows where her wallet and checkbook are. We see Brendan mid-pose in the hallway saying, Brendan can't come to the hallway right now.
Did you guys steal money from your parents when you were kids?
No, I was too scared.
You know,
my brother did, though. I never did.
You know what's funny was I was just going through a big thing of change so we can get some quarters to refill our water jugs. And as I was doing it, I was like, fuck, man, my mom used to be a bartender. And she had a big old like jar of change. And I'm like, we were kids. So, of course, we were like, she'll never notice we take all the quarters out of her change jar.
Sneak.
We had a little pharmacy in a little town I grew up in, and we walked there with like $5 in quarters and just buy a shitload of candy.
Dude, when my dad used to pass out, I would go like rummaging through his pockets, and I'd always like pull out like singles.
Damn,
like $5.
You went in the pockets, dude. That's hilarious.
Well, okay, he wasn't wearing them at the time.
Oh, so you gotta clarify.
Yeah. No, it was like he fell asleep, and then I would grab it, and he's like, I lost some money. I'm like, yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
Probably in the washing machine.
Guess who's getting some McDonald's?
Well, Paula demands an explanation, and Brendan says they should really consider calling the fire department.
The fact that Brendan had to say that, right?
Seriously, yeah. So we hear the sirens of the fire department, and we see the fireman talking to Paula, who's holding Josie. He tells her that everything is under control. I don't know, if, like super split second, you see in the yard, there's the TV. On top of the TV is the phone. And then on top of the TV is also, it looks like Brendan's camera. So it looks like Brendan's like, okay, the three important things, the TV, the telephone, and my camera.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm not even like, listen, man, if I had to put together a go bag, you know what would be in it? It'd be my camera. And it would be like
my TV.
Three of the hard drives from my computer. I wouldn't even fuck with anything. I wouldn't grab my PC or nothing. It's the 3 hard drives, my camera. That's
no
what's
water,
in my
no food.
I make water. I consume water.
Yeah. Adele and I have actually been stockpiling cameras and hard drives. Every time we go out, we're like, should we grab an extra camera and hard drive?
Wow, you just tickled me. That's
Quick,
funny.
grab all the SD cards you can.
We prepared for this.
But back into the scene though, not only, I'm not sure if this is a thing that's on your list there, Tim, but not only paused, it's the telephone, it's the lamp, it's the TV, it's the camera. But who is the fireman to the right, all the way towards the right of the shot?
Their backs turned to us? Those?
No,
is that Ken Adelberg as a fireman?
That's Ken Adelberg. There he is.
Tim, did you catch that? Were you keeping this?
Oh, he's like off.
I see his little mustache peeking out.
He's just holding a hose?
Yeah.
That's so funny. I did not catch that.
Damn, good eye.
I just saw him looking at the camera. I was like, he's very Ken Adelberg shaped.
Yeah.
Let me just...
Okay, so
Slow down.
when it transitions from Brendan suggesting they call the fire department and then them showing up, it's like a punch-in camera zoom, and Ken is all the way on the right.
Yeah.
It really is a blink and you miss it kind of thing. And dude, I missed it.
Damn, good catch though.
I was looking at the smoke. I was like, oh God, that animated smoke is going hard. And then I just saw that guy staring into the camera.
That's so funny. So we can add firefighter to Ken Adelberg's list of
He's
jobs.
a jack of all trades.
Dang. Dude, I've watched
He's
this
all over
episode
the place.
3 times in the last 2 days, and Marcin caught it once with us on Discord and is like, oh yeah, hey, you didn't notice that?
Fresh eyes.
It's the smoke. The smoke was like, honestly, look at the smoke and just replay it. It's just going crazy. Like compared to everything else in the show, the smoke was just like basically, hey, look over here quick.
That's funny. Nice. So, yeah, we see the fireman talking to Paula. Paula says she feels so stupid because it was a small fire. And the fireman reassures her, saying that all big fires start with one small spark.
Oh, he's trying to be helpful.
Smokey the Bear.
Well, this is when Paula's mother, Doris, comes in. Doris is voiced by Jen Kirkman. And I'm saying this, and I feel like the first time we saw Paula's mother, which was in like the life of Through a Fisheye Lens.
Oh, yeah.
I think she's just voiced by Janine Tullio, who does the voice of Paula. I'm not sure. It might have been Jen Kirkman then too, because I feel like it's a similar voice.
I was going to ask, are they the same voice actors? Because I don't remember her being such a B word.
Thank you for censoring yourself. Yeah. A beauty? Is that what you mean?
Yes. Yes.
Oh my gosh. We can get into it more when the scenes actually come up, but the relationship between Paula and her mom in this is just so relatable in so many ways.
Yeah.
There's a specific one I probably would have lost my mind at. It's a little bit later. Because it's a bit of a pet peeve of mine in the first place, but like her coming into it right now, she reminds me a bit of I only watched a little bit of Archer, but Archer's mom from the show.
She actually reminds me a lot of my mom's mother, my grandma on my mom's side, like eerily so.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So,
I think I have some audio
It's fine,
of her
Brendan.
from season
Everything's
1.
Fine.
Paula, make sure you save all the leftovers. I can
That
get
sounds-
meals out of that for me and your father.
That's different.
That is a different voice. So I do think the first time we see Paula's mom in Life Through a Fisheye Lens, I think it is Janine DeTullio.
Yeah.
But this time it is definitely Jen Kirkman. Again, let's set the scene. Paula is talking to a firefighter. Her house obviously just had a fire. Doris walks up and immediately informs Paula that she's leaving her father and getting a divorce. So Paula points out that she's got a little bit of a situation going on, and Doris gets a little frustrated and says, "Oh, for Pete's sake, Paula, how's your fire? I'm getting a divorce."
I love that when she says that she's getting a divorce, she directs it towards the fireman because she wants that fireman.
Oh, yeah. And not only that, like, she's making eyes at him, and then when she says for like the second time, "I'm getting a divorce," the fireman even like puts his arm on her shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, "I understand."
I understand what you're getting at.
Yeah, she's single and ready to patronize.
Yep. And that's when Paula asks if anyone has a hose.
I assume that was to imply that she wanted to like spray her mom down.
Like hose her mom down. Yeah. Like she's a dog in heat or something.
See, I didn't get that.
Yeah, especially the fireman. I just looked back at the clip. The fireman's winking at her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Damn, well, she's newly divorced or about to be.
Well, the next scene, Paula's on the phone with her dad. Now, I'm going to say this is another instance where not only is the voice actor different for the dad, because in this episode, the voice actor for the dad is Sam Cedar.
Why does that name sound familiar?
Sam Cedar is the voice actor for Fenton Muley.
Oh, yes. Okay, that makes sense.
I'm going to send a photo real quick to the group chat.
Oh, okay.
So the photo that I'm sending is Paula's dad, Brendan's grandpa, in season 1, episode, I believe it's 9, Life Through a Fisheye Lens.
Let's take a look here.
Oh my god. I just jumped back to episode 9 from season 1. Holy shit, it's so different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So you'll see the dad from season 1. Now I'm going to send dad from this episode. And if we'll take a little notice, these dads, in my opinion, look a bit different.
Yeah.
I agree, but I could also say that he just looks different because he's going through it.
That's true. That's true.
Because they are different. And I think Tim mentioned this earlier, especially in the nose and mouth, but like they still kind of have that like white hair on the sides that's kind of spiky and like I don't know. They're similar enough to where it's not like jarring.
Right.
He shaved his beard.
Yep.
He's got the shadow. Yeah.
He got rid of the ear hair. He
Yep.
took off the hat.
He put on his
I get-
glasses.
You know what I always heard from my own father is that as you age, your nose gets bigger.
Okay.
So maybe that's just what happened.
Interesting. But what happened to his weird bellied hair that he kept showing Brendan?
That's true.
Maybe he got it lasered off, laser hair removal.
Yes.
That's right. Did we see the grandma in that episode?
I believe so.
Yeah, she poked her head in. She looks similar enough, but it's definitely a different voice actor. Man, like if only I had interviewed a couple people who had worked on this show, I could maybe like ask.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Did you get any? Did you get any answers?
So first I messaged David and
Hold on a second. Tim is polishing his fingers on his shirt. Hold on.
Big shot.
so first I sent it to David and David replied, "Oof. That's a really good question. Unfortunately, I do not remember the answer. So if my memory cooperates, I will let you know. I remember Aya, who I believe was the art director, not really loving the grass-like hair pouring out of the ears of the original.
Oh yeah, he doesn't have ear hair.
But I don't recall why so much more was changed. It may just be one of life's mysteries."
I want to say he shaved his beard and his ear hair in attempts to save his marriage.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work, and now he's just disheveled and upset.
Yeah. So I was like, I mean, that's not a bad. That's something. It's not nothing.
It's
I was
not-
like, man, but only if I had interviewed like the original art director.
yeah.
So I
Your
messaged
fingers are
Chris.
getting real polished there.
So I messaged Chris Georginas and I was like, hey, do you know why these two models have changed so much? And his response was, ooh, interesting. I don't actually know. But you should ask. But you should ask David.
It's like a go ask your mother.
I feel so bad because both of these guys, I'm like, dude, I'm asking you a question about a nuanced decision you made 20 plus years ago. I get it. Like, please, by all means, like, don't feel bad for not remembering. I understand completely. But this morning, I woke up to a second message from David.
Mm.
He said, oh, I woke up and remembered someone drew a character and someone else remarked that it sort of looked like Damon Wong would look, but old. Quote unquote, old Damon. It became a character, and I think this is it. I think that's why the design changed drastically. Like most decisions, it was meant to please ourselves internally.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's good.
So-
I'm much happier to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either of those could be correct. Either of those could be incorrect. Again, these are two gentlemen trying to tap into a memory of 20 plus years ago while still pursuing a very fulfilling life of art.
I like to think I'm correct, actually.
Yeah.
You
It's
know-
not that far off, honestly.
I think I'm going to message both of them and be like, hey, actually, you're both wrong.
My fiance.
He added glasses. They took out the ear hair, and he shaved the beard, took off the head. Like, it's not too far off.
No.
It is wildly different if you look at two pictures back to back.
It's not jarring. We all go through metamorphosis in life.
Yeah, and this has been a couple years in between these two episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all have a Kafka.
Yeah. Is Brendan still 8 years old? Of course.
Yeah.
But it's
Does
all right.
everyone else look exactly the same? Absolutely.
Weirdly, the grandma, like Doris, didn't really change that much, honestly.
No,
You know,
she looks very similar. It's just the voice that's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, her vibe is that of a golden aged actress, like a golden Hollywood aged actress.
Yeah. That's why she reminds me of my grandma. My grandmother. That like always has a cigarette in their hand. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Paula's talking to her dad, and at one point he says, if getting a divorce is what your mother wants for me and her to move on together, then so be it. I think at that point, Paula is like, what the hell are you talking about? He tells her not to get upset, and Paula asks how he could be so calm, and he admits he's had a couple glasses of sherry.
Sherry.
And then specifies, I've had 6 or 7 glasses of sherry.
I think this is where Paula gets it from. as far as the alcoholism. I think watching this,
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
Well,
Holy shit.
Doris was putting him back too.
Yeah.
Because it's actually the very next scene we cut over to Brendan talking to Doris, saying that he understands there are divorce bells ringing. It's funny because, Doris has a drink and there's a few empties on the table. Brendan has like a cup of water with like a couple empties on the table as well. Like he's been, I don't know, keeping up with her drink for drink. Brendan asks if there was any cheating going on, and Doris says, "What do you consider cheating?"
That means yes. That absolutely means yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those. We didn't do X, Y, and Z, but we did A, B, and C.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of that at all.
No. She made a few questionable decisions in this episode, I must say.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the drinking or what, but not a fan of Doris.
No. We'll get to the part where I turned on Doris, and I was like, oh, I have a problem with you, Doris. We have an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with this show and giving me more characters to hate. I love the show, but they're never like, here's Jackie Man. He's great. He's a cool dude. Look at him go.
Maybe
He's on
one
the
day.
ceiling.
He's on the ceiling. He's possessed.
I mean, that's life, though, right? You go out in life and you meet a lot of different people, and some of them you vibe with, and some of them you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to the rest.
I love this line. Brendan points out that the big losers in divorce are actually the kids, so she should keep an eye on the little one.
Is that referring to Paula?
Yes.
I love that.
And that's when it pans over to Paula, who says she just talked to Dad, and he's heartbroken. Doris says the only way you can break that man's heart is to whack it with a sledgehammer.
Damn.
Or take away his antidepressants.
Damn.
Yeah, Doris is cold.
Stone cold.
And she's done both of them.
She immediately changes the subject and says that they should eat because she is starved.
Wrote down in my notes $5 for a BT, but I don't know what that meant.
BT.
Oh, I know what it is.
What?
Because it's in the next scene. So the next scene, we are at soccer practice, and Coach is pointing out that he just realized he was supposed to be grading the kids. Because he hasn't been keeping track of anything, he's going to have to wing it. Coach points out that nobody's getting an A because they suck. And that's when Melissa chimes up and says she always gets A's. Coach tells her because of that little outburst, she's getting a D. And Melissa asks if she can get him a cup of coffee for a B+.
Oh, it wasn't a BT. It was a B+.
Yes.
Bad.
McGurk was offering $5 for B+. Coach says that's a big step up for coffee. So coffee, that's a C. Get it? C for coffee.
Yeah.
And she does it.
Oh, yeah.
She just doesn't.
I love it. He's like, coffee, black, 8 sugars. So Fenton offers to shine his shoes, and Coach gives him an F. F for Fenton. And that's when...
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. That's when Walter and Perry chime up and say they can do his laundry. They start going on about using fabric softener, and eventually Coach tells them to shut up. They're both getting Ds. And they genuinely, seem excited. They start cheering, and at that point, Coach is like, okay, shut up. You both get A's.
See, I thought they were doing that on purpose to annoy him so they could get A's.
Well, if that was the case, it worked.
I thought the joke was going to be like, we got double D's.
I just think it's funny that he annoyed him so much. Coach is like, fine, you both get A's. And after he literally said nobody's getting A's because they suck.
Walter and Perry deserve the A's, I say.
Yeah.
Perry?
Also, failing gym or soccer is just... it makes no sense to me.
Oh, really? Because I failed gym.
Really?
Because I refused to go.
Yeah.
Okay, that's... Yeah.
I was going to say
that...
the people in my class that failed gym were the ones that were just like, nope, I'm not dressed. I'm not putting on gym clothes. I'm not participating in anything. I'm not running. I'm not... Yeah.
That was me, 6th grade, my 6th grade year.
Nice.
I was like, fuck you guys. I'm done.
Honestly... Go for it. I think children should not be forced to do that if they don't want to.
Yeah.
I got into many a fight in volleyball.
Well, Coach tells the kids to start running laps and says it's for half a grade. So Brendan stays behind so he can ask Coach if he knows any carpenters who could rebuild a kitchen. I love it. Coach immediately gets defensive. He's like, what am I, the help wanted? And Brendan points out they had a small fire and his mom just thought Coach might know somebody. Points out Paula needs a man around the house and that Brendan is in luck because he does know someone who can do it and cheap. Brendan asks for his phone number and Coach points out it's me, Brendan. I'm the guy. I'll do the work. Try and keep up here. I love it. Coach points out, I used to be in construction. Your mom probably knew that, and that's why she's asking about me.
She never asked about him.
No. And how the hell would she know that?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
And we study this podcast. We know that he was raised by a Greek family.
And was in the circus. You know my story.
I think we quickly find out that he doesn't know how to do carpentry. So,
Well,
I know someone who does.
is his name Jesus?
No, it's Adele.
what?
With the wood
Oh,
the
yes.
wood stick.
The wood stick that I purchased and glued things to? Yes.
Just like Jesus.
Just like Jesus would have wanted.
So Coach points out he would love to do it. He can use the cash. Plus, he's getting some work done on his place. Then he starts making this really weird noise. And that's when Melissa shows back up with the coffee. And she's like, oh, Coach, what's wrong? And that's when Coach points out he has an inner ear itch.
He was doing this sound like before Melissa walked up to. I legitimately thought he was having like a heart attack or some shit. And that was going to be like the premise of the show.
I'm so upset by this whole thing with him and this inner ear itch because I'm like, okay, well, they're showing this. It's going to come. It's a Chekhov's gun. It's going to come back.
No.
It doesn't. Like, this is the only time he does it throughout the episode.
Nope.
It's so weird to me because I've never understood this, like, make this noise and inner ear itch. But I vaguely remember watching this episode with somebody like years and years ago, and they're like, dude, I know exactly what he's talking about. And I'm just like, I don't.
Yeah. I stick things in my ears if I have itches. I never just start hacking
Yeah.
a lung.
Yeah.
up.
Apparently this is like inside, like not,
Like-
you can put it in, like in your head, inner ear.
Like behind the eardrum.
Yeah.
So he's like making that noise to like vibrate that area.
Right.
To scratch it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, that noise transitions to him in the following scene, making the same noise while drawing up an estimate for Paula. Quick side note, we do see the cow's head tattoo on his arm, but that's the only visible tattoo we see. So Coach draws up the estimate, which is a picture of a window, a picture of a counter, plus the word paint, plus the word beer, and then it says equals $500. I think it says 500 plus. There's something after the 500, but it says it's for 500.
Could be a T, 500 T.
Yeah. 500 for T, yeah.
500,000.
He tries to give the estimate to Paula, and Paula's like, you can just tell me. And he's like, nope, this is how we do it in construction.
Slides it across the table.
Hands it to her, and he says, remember, this does not include labor or materials.
So what would it be for?
Yeah. Paula definitely seems confused. That's when Coach quickly corrects himself, and he's like, wait, no, it does include labor and materials, but it is an estimate, and estimates change. Well, Paula points out, hey, that's the cheapest estimate I've had so far. Coach points out that's because he does cheap work. It's at this moment that Doris walks in to kind of step outside to have a cigarette, so Paula kind of reluctantly introduces Coach and Doris. Doris immediately asks Coach if he plans on taking advantage of daughter, and Paula gets very defensive, says she's not a baby. Doris points out that she's the one that's going to be paying for the construction, and she doesn't want her money to go to waste. So Paula insists no, I'm paying for it. And Doris points out once to her and then to McGurk, she doesn't have any money. She's a single mother.
Oh, the triggering. I was like, oh, this sounds like a conversation I would have with my own mother. She doesn't have any money. Okay, yeah, true. But you don't need to tell people.
Whose fault is that, Mom? Tell me right fucking now.
Whose generation did that, huh?
Got him.
Where's the goddamn ladder? Where'd you put it? You kicked it down.
It's funny because they start fighting over who's going to pay Coach, and Coach is just kind of standing in the middle. And at one point is like, well, you can both pay me.
Yeah.
Good deal. Good deal.
Paula tells her mother she doesn't have to come in and save the day. And as she's closing the door, Doris says, well, somebody has to.
Damn, Loris.
Paula, very obviously frustrated. It's so ridiculous, but I don't know why it makes me laugh so much because Coach is like, so, what happened here? A fire?
Yeah.
He is just a man oblivious to the world around him.
Oh, yeah. The next scene, we have Brendan, Jason, Melissa. They're setting up for the next scene of their movie. Melissa asks Brendan why Doris is living with them. And Brendan explains she's getting a divorce. Jason asks, isn't Doris a little old to get a divorce? And Brendan explains, well, yeah, you can get a divorce at any age.
I just wanted to point out, I wrote down in my notes, Brendan looks like many of the children that I grew up with in Kentucky.
The little, slivers of hair and then a fucking mullet.
The mullet and the spiky hair on the top.
That's funny.
That's great.
Jason points out he thinks it's kind of stupid to get a divorce at that age because you're pretty much on empty anyway. Might as well just gun it.
Damn. Cold, Jason.
I didn't know if Melissa was going to say it now, but I quoted her of what she says.
Melissa points out all parents get divorced eventually. His grandparents just waited a little longer.
Damn.
I love that perspective from Melissa and Brendan because they're both children of divorce. So in their eyes, it's like, oh, it's inevitable.
It's crazy because I really never put 2 and 2 together until this episode that they both have divorced parents. But I mean, Melissa's dad hit on Paula, so I guess I should have caught on.
Well, and last episode was when Eric had the conversation with Paula about,
not having a
male role model.
Right.
So, I think this is just one of those moments where it shows that even though Melissa is very smart for her age and kind of beyond her years, she does still have these childlike ideas that, my parents are divorced and my best friend Bren, his parents are divorced. So all parents get divorced. That's just how it works.
It shows that you can be extremely smart and also have ignorance.
Yeah. It reminds me of the one time with Melissa where Jason was asking about, do you think the nurse has a crush on me? Yeah. The nurse was like, is she like you or does she say things? Yeah, I think she does. Oh, you guys got to get married and right away.
Yeah. Yep. This is when Brendan points out that Jason's parents are still together. Melissa and Brendan are both like, oh, that's adorable, so cute. And Jason's pushing back a little bit, saying their parents might get a divorce. They're practically on the verge of divorce, I think he says. And that's when Coach wanders into the scene and Melissa's like, hey, Coach, how's the job going? And Coach immediately gets defensive and asks Melissa if she's his foreman.
Poor Melissa. I can't catch a break.
No, not with Coach. So,
I honestly think that Melissa is Coach's favorite, but just in some twisted way.
Yeah, it could be. Coach goes on to explain that to Brendan that he needs tools. So Brendan takes him over to a tool closet and opens it up, and Coach is like, I don't see any tools in here. And that's when we pull back to reveal a literal closet filled with tools.
As a person with ADHD, I have done this many times. Where are all the tools? I don't see any tools.
I love it. Coach is like, sir, I just use a different type of tools. I should have brought over my brand.
Mm-hmm.
Which the fact that he showed up to remodel a kitchen with no tools, I'm like, oh no. Coach says he needs a hammer and ends up grabbing a tape measure. And then he proceeds to have Brendan hold one end and walk to the other side of the room so Coach could let go. He snaps the tape measure on Brendan. You hear Brendan off screen say, ouch. And Coach say, yeah, my dad used to do that to me. So I'm like a father figure. Brendan even agrees. He's like, yeah, you are. And that's when Coach says he's going to go out front and whoop at girls. Well,
whoop at girls.
Yes.
I am a construction worker. That's what we get paid to do.
Exactly.
Whoop, whoop.
Now we're back in the movie. The two detectives are getting ready to arrest Brendan's character named Dumper. Jason's character starts reading Dumper his rights, but ends it with, you have the right to feel my fists if you don't shut up.
Got him.
At one point, Jason calls himself Detective Winooski, and Melissa has to correct him and say, no, you're Mulligan. I'm Winooski. Kind of in a little bit of a Walter and Perry kind of thing, like, no, Perry. Brendan's character keeps claiming that he's innocent while Melissa's character is handcuffing him. At one point, Brendan says, ouch, that hurts. And Jason says, isn't she something? I'm going to marry her someday as soon as she gets a divorce.
I thought this was a moment of Brendan writing from his subconscious again into the plot, because divorce is a big topic, and then it gets brought up in this scene. They don't really touch on it, but it just pointing that out, that it seems that he's writing what he knows.
Right. Jinx. Because it gets brought up, the divorce. I guess it's not divorce, but she says that her husband is leaving her.
Mm-hmm.
But that was before he even knew his grandma was getting a divorce. So
that's true.
Dang, foreshadowing.
Also, the way that the trench coat just like overtakes Jason's entire body is
I
very
love it.
funny.
Yeah. Brendan asks Jason's character why he's being so mean to him, and Jason says, "'Cause I'm a cop. You think this is easy?" And that's when Brendan yells, "Cut!" And we hear Doris clapping in the background, telling the kids, "Bravo." Doris asks Brendan if there's a part in his movie for an old wannabe actress. And Brendan flat out says no. Doris says it looks like fun. And she hasn't had some real fun in a long time. So Brendan immediately folds and tells Doris she can be the landlady.
It sucks that Doris is the best actress in this movie.
With extremely questionable choices, I must say.
Oh, very much extremely questionable. I will say though, Jason's usually a pretty good actor.
Yeah.
With Melissa and Brendan around, but he wasn't handling it really well as far as the character is concerned, acting quote unquote for him. But the second that Doris jumps in, I feel like his bad acting turns pretty good once he gets a different partner.
Yeah, I think he was just uncomfortable. Well, I mean, it's literally the next scene.
Yeah.
They start filming, and before Doris starts filming, she has to adjust herself.
We've all been there.
So she then tells the detective that Dumper owes her 2 months' rent, and Jason says the state is paying for rent where he's going to go. And that's when Doris goes on to say that she needs a tenant, not to just pay the bills, but a woman gets lonely running her own apartment building.
I was extremely uncomfortable watching this. I'm so sorry. I just, I remember watching it the first time and just, I don't like this, saying that out loud as it's going. Because, like, it felt very, like, beginning of a porno. And, she's rubbing up on a fucking child. I know it's a cartoon, guys. I understand. It's the implications.
It's also the normalization of it a little bit.
Thank you.
And I get it, it's a cartoon, but like also he's 8, and like the big thing, like those are big things, but also, again, it's a cartoon. Mm-hmm. But not telling your partner what you're gonna do beforehand in an acting situation, especially when it comes to like there's a reason that intimacy coaches are so needed on sets.
Right.
I get it. It's a cartoon. Yeah, I said my 2 cents. Now it's funny. Haha, it's funny, but like. I was also pretty uncomfortable when I was like, wait, whoa.
Yeah,
What's
honestly,
going on?
Yeah, not a big fan of the adjustment up top, the changing the plot a little bit to say, I'm lonely. You know what it's like to be lonely, don't you? It's like, that's very uncomfortable as well. But the cherry on top of the uncomfortable cake is when she starts rubbing Jason's chest with her hand.
It's giving desperate.
Jason is even confused, being like, why are you touching my chest? I think Melissa asked Brendan, what page are we on? And that's when Brendan's like, okay, cut. Yep. A different take on the story. Yeah. Whole new angle. That's when Doris says, okay, I'm going to go outside for a cigarette. And then immediately says, kids don't smoke.
What's that quote? Do as I
say, not as I do.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
We're back in the kitchen. Coach McGurk is cutting into a 2x4, the saw, and then measuring the piece before yelling, oh, crap, I am not good at this, and throws it into a scrap pile. Brendan asks Coach if he's measuring after he cuts it, and Coach is like, when you say it out loud, it sounds crazy. But then he tells Brendan he's eyeballing it, which is the way real carpenters do it. Brendan says he sure would love to fool around with that saw, and Coach is like, yeah, knock yourself out. Tosses him the saw, and then steps out as we see Brendan proceed to cut a piece of wood, his hand directly in front of the saw, and then the sawdust just blasting into his face.
2 things to this. Just Brendan and McGurk look so alike.
Much alike. Brendan's supposed to be wearing like a quote-unquote costume of like a scumbag, and just happens to look exactly like McGurk.
I didn't even notice that. That's great.
If you're just looking at it, it looks like a father and son. If you show this to someone out of context, they're like, oh, yeah, it's a father and son working on the home.
Yeah.
But it's so funny the way that you put it. Like, he is supposed to be a scumbag. But also the saw, you saw it says big guy on it.
Yeah.
Did you see the saw con?
No. Marcin, I'm not going to say that.
What?
Damn it.
I know exactly what he was doing.
What?
He was going to say, did you see the suck on? And you're supposed to say, what suck on? And he was probably going to say, suck on these nuts, would be my guess.
Guys, this is a Christian podcast.
It better not fucking be. Where's that? Who told me this? Show me my contract.
Oops. Fine print.
That's how they get you.
That's when Paula walks in to ask Brendan for a hand, but then gets interrupted by realizing that Doris is refolding all of her underwear. Paula, obviously upset, yells at Doris. Doris tells her not to take everything so personally. Paula points out that she's unfolding her underwear, and Doris says, yeah, because you didn't do it correctly.
It's not your house, Doris. Not your underwear, Doris.
This is the part where I would have probably freaked the fuck out.
Oh, yeah.
One because she was there while McGurk was like, here's the saw, holding it in the opposite direction, so it's even harder and it will come at you with the saw, and she didn't say anything about that. But also, is there a wrong way to fold underwear?
No, there's not. There's just some people are
Right.
very particular. There was I was the folder in my house growing up, and my mom liked her towels folded a very specific way, so it's very mom coded. This
Was it paper
episode.
cranes?
Yeah, she wanted them folded like a little dog, like they do on cruises.
Yeah.
The folding supremacy, like I just don't like. It's laundry. Put it away. Like just leave
Right.
it alone. Get out of there.
But like Adele said, the mom coded of like, oh, you didn't do it my way, so this is the wrong way.
It's almost like she left her husband and she's seemingly moving into her daughter's house and doesn't like the fact that she is no longer the head of the household. So she
Right.
has to like do what she can where she can to make herself feel more powerful. So fuck you, Dolores. I don't like you.
Yeah, so much so that you're going to call her Dolores instead of Doris.
Yeah, it's not Doris. It's Dolores.
Because it rhymes with jerk.
It rhymes with Dolores.
There it is.
Professor Umbridge. Also, Paula
Yeah.
has pink and white polka dot underwear, and it seems like cheetah print
Yeah, I think
underwear.
Yeah.
And to be like openly folding Paula's underwear in front of McGurk, I would just have to. I think a vein would
damn.
bust in my forehead.
That's some like psychological shit I didn't even think of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God damn it, Dolores.
Dolores
McGurk didn't even recognize that. Otherwise, I feel like he would have.
made a comment.
Yeah.
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 I
Well,
mean, he does worse.
yeah, I was going to say,
Absolutely.
there's a montage coming up that I was like, wait a second, did I? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, Dolores tells Paula to grow up. And I like this part because Paula like raises her arm. She's like, grow up? Grow up? Brendan comes in. He's like, hey, can Jason and Melissa stay for dinner? And she's like, yeah, sure, honey. That's fine. Grow up? Like just goes back to her little temper tantrum.
It just shows that she doesn't need to grow up. She's actually a mom, like
Yeah.
making rules in her own house.
Yeah, she's doing great. Small kitchen fire aside, she's fucking doing
Right.
great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's some parents cannot just look at their quote unquote children as nothing but children.
Yeah.
Because they can't see them for who they become or who they grow up as.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. Well, this scene is even more awkward because Coach is just standing off to the side watching them argue back and forth. And at one point just says, oh, this is like Tijuana. I should put some money down.
What's that mean?
I was going to say, I don't know.
I took that as more like a fight. Like a...
Like betting on a fight?
Yes.
Okay.
That's how I took it. I didn't take it anything super weird, I don't think.
I don't know anymore.
Yeah, who knows?
I'm just a baby.
The next scene, we got everyone sitting in the living room eating meatball sandwiches. Melissa thanks Paula for the supper, and Doris points out that Melissa is very polite. Melissa says thank you, and Doris proceeds to say, I don't trust polite kids. So Paula, you know what? I'm going to 100% give this to Paula. She very calmly, very collectively sets boundaries with her mom and says, you cannot stay here anymore.
Let's go.
You have to leave tonight.
Kick that bitch out.
And then casually is just like, John, would you like another sub?
I expected so much more for like as of a fight, especially because it's in front of everybody. And then the way that she's like, "You're kicking me out? You can't do that." I expected there to be a bigger crash out than what happened, but
Yeah.
when worlds collide in the next couple of seconds.
Yeah. Again, kudos to Paula. Like, very calm. Maybe she did it in front of the children and everyone, knowing that Doris can't put up too much of a fight.
Yeah.
But to just calm as day say, you know what? You have to leave. It's going to be tonight. You're not welcome to stay here anymore. Would anyone like another sandwich?
Sounds like
That's
Paula's
fair.
not a kid.
Yeah.
Worlds collide because that's when Paula's dad shows up at the door. Because he's lonely and out of sherry. And I want to stay here too. And that's when Doris is like, okay, I'm really going. This is when McGurk goes, McGurk is kind of like, hey, Brendan, watch this. And he goes up to Paula's dad and he says, hey, Grandpa.
This was such a good fucking bit. I loved it.
It made me laugh.
Yeah.
This was my favorite part of the whole episode. Because Grandpa's like, wow, you're really sprouting up there, aren't you?
And he's like, yup, now I'm going to go to my room. And we play off with McGurk in Brendan's room playing with his toys. We come back from a commercial break, and this transition is a fucking doozy, man. This is the one where we, like, start inside of, is it like Grandpa's brain?
Yeah, this transition scene was a trip and a half.
And we just pull out more and more and more until we come out of a hair in his forehead.
I thought the whole thing with the inner ear itch was going to come full circle into this.
Nope.
But when it pulled out and it wasn't McGurk and it was his grandfather, I didn't understand it. It didn't make any sense to me. Why?
Because they're artistes.
Well,
I agree.
now we have Paula talking to Brendan, explaining that her and Doris don't always see eye to eye. Brendan suggests maybe it might be a height difference, and Paula goes on to explain that Doris once chaperoned her high school prom, and even though Paula got stood up and stayed home crying, Doris went. So that's the kind of mom that she is. Brendan asked Paula if she ever thought about taking a swing at Doris, and Paula just casually says, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
That's fair.
Everyone has once in a while. Also, are they at their house or are they at their grandfather's house now?
No, at this point, they're still at their house, but now we've switched where Grandpa is staying there and Grandma left. Doris is gone, and it's just Grandpa's there sleeping on the couch.
Okay. Did you guys go to prom?
No.
No.
Okay. I wanted to have a good prom. I had a terrible prom. I won't get into it. That's not the point. But the fact of the matter that Dolores was ruining her daughter's prom on the night that she cried, I was like, I don't like her anymore. I didn't think she was the worst person, but now it's just like, damn, you're just really cruel and wanting the spotlight.
It's giving one of those moms that gets like jealous of their daughter. So they have to like constantly steal the attention from them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have now a montage of Coach McGurk as he's supposed to be working on the kitchen. We see him laying on the couch with a beer.
The immediate next picture is him holding what I assume is Paula's bra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's another picture where he's like sitting on the toilet with her wedding album.
Wedding album. And he almost looks like...
Angry?
Yeah.
So like, first of all, I don't want to know what he was doing with that fucking wedding album on the toilet.
My assumption was he was just looking for something to read while he was pooping.
Okay.
That was
We'll
the
go with
only...
that.
I don't want to read too much into it. That was just like the quick... So I have them all in order. We got the laying on the couch with a beer. We got looking at Paula's bra drawer, and I even wrote in parentheses, yikes. We see him burning ants with a magnifying glass, taking a bath. I believe he was reading a diary while he was taking a bath.
Damn, he made himself.
I feel like that's Paula's diary. If Paula has a diary, right?
I mean, she's a creative writer, so yeah, she probably does.
Yeah, I would assume so. Yeah, absolutely. So we see him riding on Jason's holy roller big wheel. We see him fighting for a toy with Josie. We see him, looking at Paula's photo album on the toilet, almost angry. We see him enjoying a drink with Grandpa. We see him lying in the sandbox reading a book. We see him watching a puppet show with Josie. The next picture is him eating all Josie's baby food. And then, him taking a nap with the stuffed gnome. And then finally him putting makeup on his sleeping grandpa.
Is that like it was supposed to be funny?
A little callback to that. So this transitions into McGurk's butt crack, and we see Paula walk up with 2 beers and ask how it's going. Coach is honest and says it's going slow, and while he says that, a cabinet falls off the wall, and Coach says it's like that. It's pretty much going like that. So Paula asks him if he wants a beer, and he starts saying, like, no, I've already had enough, and then he's like, sure, I'll have one. So the next scene is Brendan and Melissa talking on the phone with Jason, and they're asking if he's, like, sick, and Jason says he is, but in his heart. In the background in Jason's room, we see a Scarface poster with Jason's face on it instead, and it says Scab Face instead of Scarface. So Jason goes on to explain that his parents are definitely getting a divorce. It's really bad. He tells him to hold on a second so he can yell at his parents because they're fighting again. Jason says it's really bad. He excuses himself again to yell at his parents, who are allegedly arguing, and Jason says now he totally relates to them about all the divorce stuff. His parents will probably be divorced by the end of the day. So Melissa and Brendan then ask Jason if he is lying, and Jason pretty quickly admits that he was. I like it. Brendan and Melissa tell him it's not his fault that your parents are staying together. Sometimes it's just what parents do. Jason, kind of realizing he was caught in the lie, asks them what they're up to, and that's when they remind him they're waiting for him so they can film the movie. He says he'll come right over. The next scene, we find Coach McGurk. There's like cabinets that are put together, but they're just like crappy. It looks like tape was used. He's sitting at a table with like several empty beer cans in front of him. He tells Brendan when he took the job, he wasn't going to let it beat him. And he's not a quitter. He goes on to explain that he takes something on, and he takes it on because he's a fighter, and then immediately says he quits.
Yeah, everything's held together by duct tape.
Yeah. He says he's a beaten man, and he can't face Paula himself, so he gives Brendan a checklist. 1, do not use the stove. I think I hooked up the wrong pipes. 2, do not use the bathroom. 3, don't go in the bathroom because I use the bathroom and realize the bathroom doesn't work because I ruined the pipes.
How did it get all the way to the bathroom?
I took that as he ruined the pipes, like he went to the bathroom and it couldn't go down and now the pipes are ruined. And so it's like, yeah, I came here to fix your kitchen, which not only did I not fix your kitchen, but I also destroyed your bathroom.
So like Paula had every excuse in the world to freak the fuck out every time.
Yeah.
When she kept bringing the beers in to hand to him or talk to McGurk at any step in this process, I thought she was going to freak out, and very much warranted.
Yeah.
Here's the part where she should have, I want to say grab the nearest weapon she can because I would have.
Absolutely. And did she already give him I assume already gave him the $500?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's when Coach begins to leave. He told Brendan, tell Paula because I don't want to face her. And Brendan tries to stop him and point out the kitchen isn't finished. And Coach says, yeah, I know. The kitchen isn't finished, but the scam is.
There it is.
And that's when he leaves and says, see you in court.
He's so aware of what he's just done.
Yeah.
He's made it worse and he's stolen money.
But he got some family time out of it.
There you go. Marcin, if you've got the episode up, if you want to go to about 1919.
I am staring at it.
It's
I know
crazy.
Exactly.
So this is the scene where Brendan walks in to talk to his mom in the living room for, I don't know, a handful of seconds, maybe. We get a glimpse of the television, which appears to be a wrestling match. Both of the wrestlers are in costume. But I think it's pretty obvious that we have Coach McGurk wrestling Miss Lady from the Fairy Princesses.
Yeah. And the shirt says El Coach del... What's the last word?
Fuego.
Fuego? What's fuego?
Fire.
That
Do you know what it
translates to the car of fire.
Oh.
A.K.A. his reckless Phoenix mobile.
Damn.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. I like that a lot.
And then I know we talked about this probably in the politics episode, but a couple others. We also have a crowd, which means we've got a few repeat faces in the crowd.
It almost looks mirrored.
Yeah. I believe
It
you are
is?
correct.
Yeah.
Good observation.
Thanks.
So, yeah,
Oh, man.
that part cracks me up. So, it's canon. McGurk is a wrestler.
That's crazy. So they do meet. Called it.
Let's go.
And what's the move that he pulls off? Oh,
Body
he doesn't.
slam.
Oh, they don't show it.
No, Brendan stands in front of the TV by the time it
Yeah.
really starts popping off.
He's just on the top rope. I was literally, I won't say what it was, but I was working on some wrestling content last night and trying to like study what moves were. And I was so excited to see McGurk do a wrestling move. I really wanted to see it.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, Brendan walks into the living room. His mom is sitting on the couch. He asks her what she's doing, and she explains that she's just folding her laundry to kind of take back power and peace. She is folding the laundry her right way. Brendan asks if it's okay that Doris comes over to finish filming the movie, and Paula says it's fine, and that she's actually very glad that Brendan and Doris get along. Brendan asks if they can send Grandpa home because he's starting to smell, and Paula cracks a joke that she's waiting for garbage day so she can just push him out. And that's when Brendan specifies that he's actually just going around smelling things. And that's where we have a quick scene with Grandpa smelling the gnome from Brendan's bedroom.
Gnome spotted.
That gnome has showed up like a few times in this episode.
Yeah, 'cause
McGurk was cuddling.
Yep, McGurk was
Oh,
cuddling with
yeah,
it too.
yeah.
Yeah. Nice. So now we have the final scene, which is a scene from the movie. Yeah, Jason playing the harmonica, quote unquote. I love the sucker tattoo on his stomach.
I'm here serving 3 life sentences.
Reminds me of
Funny
Booker
thing,
T's
life.
catchphrase.
So, what are you in for?
Nothing.
Right.
I didn't do anything.
Complaining only makes it worse. You gotta play the hand
cardboard
you
weight.
dealt, kid.
Yeah, but I actually really didn't do anything.
Well, then you should scream your head off.
Hey,
And you
lowlifes.
should scream your head
Hi.
off.
Hey, Warden. What brings you down to the hole?
Hey, Dumper, your landlady's here to see you.
Landlady, please get me out of here.
Are you gonna pay me the money you owe me?
Yeah. I'll pay you the money that I owe you.
But you don't have any money, do you, Dumper?
Oh, that's not in this. Well, I do have it, and it's hidden in my bed, underneath it.
That's all I wanted to know. You know you're even stupider than you look, Dumper.
Yes, I know that. What?
We got him.
We got
Winooski.
him. That's right, Mulligan.
All right, Mulligan.
All right,
Mulligan,
Mulligan.
Winooski, the detectives?
That's right.
They already
You
caught
guys
him.
are undercover.
That's right.
But they
All
got
right,
him to
so
admit he
when
had
did
money.
you change the script and not tell me?
It was Doris's idea.
Cut.
Oh, we should have cut with.
Oh, come on, Brendan. The way
Jason.
you had it was good, but I think my way is much more poignant.
You know, I think you and
Get
I
her
will
out of
talk.
there!
I need a cigarette.
Me too.
Do I?
That's a wrap.
Watch.
What a bitch.
Uh,
Uh,
B word.
What a B word. I'm sorry.
oh, Dolores.
Sorry, folks. The fact that she changed the lines to be like, wait, you don't have any money, do ya? I'm like, oh, she is taking out her frustrations with Paula. For sure.
I think not only just Paula, but also like with her husband that she's
Oh,
divorcing. I wrote here, Doris oversteps, but God damn it, she knows how to write. That's a good twist. I don't know. Like, oh yeah, we fooled ya, and I would have hated that personally. But like, I don't know what Brendan had to write. But God, Dolores oversteps, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can't wait to do the tier list of the worst characters of the show.
That would be so much fun, yeah.
Yeah. A couple things. I love Jason's sucker tattoo on his stomach. The fact that Jason is essentially just wearing like a bandana and a little goatee, but still like takes a mask off at the reveal.
Well, he's got a scar and sideburn.
Yeah. But I just like, Jason's like, we did it, Mulligan.
He just takes off his own
Winooski.
face. Yeah.
Yeah. But he calls Melissa Mulligan and Winooski in like the exact same sentence. So just the running joke of them switching back, not knowing exactly which one they're playing.
Also, Melissa's character didn't have to be in disguise.
Yeah, right?
She's just another,
Cop.
police officer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't
But
know, man.
twist ending. I love Brendan asks about the script change, asks about all that stuff, and then yells cut, and you like very quietly hear Jason be like, we should have cut back when, and then like Brendan just cuts him off. Just small shit like that.
Yeah, I love that they leave Jason in there.
Yep.
Leave him in there.
Yep. But that is the end of season 3, episode 2. Breaking up is hard to do.
It's true.
It really is. But for some people, they prefer it. Dolores preferred it.
Yeah, she's attempting to live her best life while making everybody else's miserable.
That is her best life. That's what she wants.
Classic Dolores.
Dolores!
I have a question then for the group. Do we think that Dolores is a narcissistic parent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to say yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's just the lack of reading the room and just manipulating people. Yeah, I'd say yes.
Overstepping entirely.
Yeah.
Any more thoughts on this episode, or should we jump into grades?
I personally don't have any more thoughts, but what say you?
I think I like this episode. The only thing I did not like about this episode was Doris. Yeah, not a fan of some of her shenanigans, but overall, I do think this was a good episode.
Yeah. The thing about this show is they do introduce a lot of like shitty characters, but they're so good at making shitty characters. Like they really know how to like personify bitches.
She is good as a character. I don't find her as entertaining as I would a Mr. Link and Leekaluku, whatever his name
Mr.
was.
Lindenson.
Yeah.
Mr. Lindenson.
Yeah.
Like, I can't stand Mr. Lindenson, but at least I can laugh at his bits. And
Yeah, he's goofy.
yeah, but then Dolores comes in and says whatever she says, and it's just, okay. B word. Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Continue.
Well, do you want to give a Jason grade first, or do we want to do overall grades?
Well, traditionally, Jason does go first. So
Yeah.
I found him entertaining. There wasn't anything crazy that jumped out as far as like a really good laugh, a really good Jason moment. So there's not really much to say. I enjoyed his back and forth with Melissa, and I also enjoyed him really just wanting to be like, I'm also got divorced parents, and he's just screaming because he wants attention. He wants to be part of the group. Nothing crazy. He didn't do anything bad, so I'm just gonna give him a B.
Nice. B for not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
That's fair. Episode grades. Does anyone want to go first?
I'll go.
Fair.
Well, I feel like, what's her real name? I know
Doris.
It's Doris. She was just very infuriating, which I shouldn't allow that to make the grade go down. But I'm just gonna give it a B plus. It was a really good show, a really good episode. It flowed really well. The overall premise was really good, but fucking Dolores just brings it down a couple notches for me. I need more funny with my shitty characters.
Here.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Marcin, would you like to go next, or would you like I?
No, I can go next. I have a very pretty similar to Adele. I want to have a little bit more laughs when it comes to the crazy characters that come in. Like, I hate Fenton episodes. I hate when Fenton's there. However, I can laugh at the absurdity and how terrible he is. And then Doris comes in and she's like, I am very shitty to Paula specifically, and I have not gotten any comeuppance. Goodbye.
Mm-hmm. Yep. See ya.
So, I feel like that was the entire episode. I got to be honest, I was not a fan of this episode because of nothing really, and like it didn't end. None of the storylines in the episode went anywhere really. Like Doris showed up, hey, I'm getting divorced, and then she left, and the grandpa was there now, and then McGurk didn't. Yeah, what was that? I saw you had a reaction.
I'm sorry. You can continue
No.
your thought. I just had a brain blast.
Okay, I want to hear the brain blast.
Does that mean that the grandfather is still living with them, like in the next episode? I'm
What does
staring
Tim
at
say?
Tim.
You know my feelings about giving things away.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I will say no. He is not.
Okay, so whatever, he went back home, I guess. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's kind of like how I feel about this episode. Like nothing really mattered, and nothing. And not to say it has to matter, but it didn't end. None of the storylines really ended.
Yeah.
Paul was like, "You got to leave," and she's like, "I don't want to leave." And then the grandpa came back, and she's like, "Okay, I'm leaving." And then the grandpa's just there. McGurk fucked up the kitchen that is still destroyed, and then left. And Paula didn't like start swinging where she was deserving.
Yeah.
Deserving to start swinging.
Paula got done dirty this episode by both her mom and McGurk.
Yeah, and then Brendan did his home movie, but he didn't really. It wasn't a Brendan episode, and like I didn't really. There was just nothing. There was no real like connection towards the end. It didn't congeal. The storylines didn't go anywhere. It just kind of petered out. So I wasn't a huge fan of this episode. Got to give it a C.
That's fair.
Okay. Well, this is season 3. I like this season a lot. When it comes to overall episodes in season 3, is this one of my favorites? Probably not. I don't hate it. It's not my favorite, though. I definitely feel what Adele was saying a lot, but for me, it doesn't quite bump my grade down to a B+. So I'm going to give this episode an A-.
A minus.
This is another one of those episodes. I mean, A- and B+. Adele and I are pretty close, and then Marcin with a C. Like we kind of run over 3-letter grades with this one.
Yep.
It's a device. Doris is divisive.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, I'm not going to make any comments about whether we'll see her again or not. Do we have, after grades, do we have anything else we would like to add about this particular episode?
Don't be a Dolores. Don't be jealous of your daughter. That's weird.
Right?
Yeah. Let the next generation succeed. Trust polite kids.
Yeah.
Encourage that.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't trust polite kids.
And there's no wrong way to fold underwear. God
Yeah.
damn it.
Yeah, sometimes I just throw my underwear in a pile and don't fold it at all.
Boom.
Yeah. I roll it up.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, well, we have anything we'd like to plug? We do abbreviated plugs now, so any plug for the end of this episode? Nope. That's going to do it for this episode of Rewatching Home Movies. Join us next week for Season 3, Episode 3, Bad Influences. If you liked what you heard, check out our Linktree at Linktree/RHMpod. There you can follow, and subscribe. Send us an email or leave us a 5-star review. I will read 5-star reviews on the podcast. Thanks to Chris Bongat for the use of our theme song, and Jens for the refresh of our logo. On behalf of myself, Tim, and my co-host Marcin and Adele, thank you for rewatching home movies with us. We'll see you next week. Bye.